Well, hello everyone, and welcome to West Seattle Stadium and one of our mobile ballot drop-off locations. I want to thank Elections Director Sherril Huff for joining me today and thank her for being vigilant about the security of our ballots. We have received a number of complaints from citizens who say that they have been solicited by people they didn't know to hand over the ballots with a promise that they would turn them in. Despite what someone may tell you when they knock on your door, it is important for all King County residents to know that there are only two secure ways to return your ballot. First, mail your voted ballot to elections through the United States Postal Service. Second, personally deliver your ballot to one of the many secure, officially designated ballot drop locations in King County. If you trust anyone other than a United States postal worker or King County elections worker with your ballot, there is no guarantee that it will be counted. This is going to come as no surprise to anyone, but this is a heated election. A heated election. And the temptation by partisan groups to manipulate the voter turnout in Washington State's largest county may be irresistible to some. The closer we get to Tuesday's election, the more vigilant voters need to be about delivering their ballots only through the two secure options: the United States Postal Service or King County Elections official drop boxes. For a list of the drop box locations, you can visit kingcounty.gov/vote, or look no further than your nearest mailbox. Be sure to have your ballot postmarked by Tuesday, and remember that if you drop your ballot into a mailbox, you need to check the last pickup time, because it has to be postmarked that day, and if you drop it in the box after the last pickup of the day, unfortunately, your vote won't end up being counted. So let me emphasize again, do not give your ballot to someone you don't know. Give your ballot to, place your ballot at a King County officially designated drop box, or put a stamp on it and drop it in the United States mail. Those are the two ways you can guarantee that your vote will be counted. Now, we're fortunate in King County to have an elections professional at the head of our election operation. She has been working hard to make sure that we have a high level of ballot security, that we have a lot of information getting out to our voters, and that, again, every vote is counted. Please join me in welcoming to the microphone our Elections Director, Sherril Huff.
Thank you, Executive Constantine, and thank you also for assisting with the importance of this message. King County Elections has always encouraged people to take responsibility for the possession of their ballot. And other than a loved one that you trust very much, you should not be handing your ballot off to anyone that you don't know, as the executive said. We have consistently had the same message to voters who ask us this question, the same message to any of those who indicate that they are considering collecting ballots from voters, and that our position on this is true regardless of what organization, what individual, what group may be suggesting that people give them their ballots for delivery. Our processes for the handling of ballots when they reach us and in the process of getting them to our office is based upon security. The protocols that we have are very strict, the guidelines are very strict, and of course, as a vote-by-mail jurisdiction, that's imperative, and our voters trust that we are going to take good care of their ballots once they are delivered either to a facility that is a King County elections facility or Dropbox, or to our office directly. We encourage any of those voters who have not yet voted to please do yourself a favor and take care of that, preferably today, but certainly as soon as you can. We know from experience in an election year like this that there will be very high activity at our drop locations, at our accessible voting centers, and at our office. So if you have not voted and delivered your ballot yet, please take the time to do that. Take it to one of King County Elections ballot locations to receive your ballot. to our office or to accessible voting centers that are located throughout the county. As the executive said, you can go to our website and you can get the exact location of all of those entities that are in county, our accessible voting centers, of which there are 5, and our ballot drop boxes that are located throughout King County, as well as the 3 accessible vans. So I certainly want to re-emphasize the importance of how you get your ballot back to us. And unless you can be assured that a postal station is going to postmark on election day, then you should take the time to take your ballot to a drop location. Postal stations have never been open until midnight every election. We have voters that think that's the case. So don't take that risk. Get your ballot into us early. And again, if you have someone approaching you or asking you, whether it's a door-to-door experience or someone that is establishing van locations in other parts of King County, and they're asking you to turn over your ballot to them for delivery, we encourage you very, very strongly not to take up that offer. The Secretary of State's office has the same position on this. The wording is exactly like ours. We strongly recommend that you only give your ballot to official locations of King County elections. Thank you.
So we will take questions in a moment, but just again to emphasize, postal workers, King County election workers are hired. We know who they are. They're trained, and they are in a trust position. Someone who's been hired this week, paid $10 an hour to go door to door and ask people to hand over their ballots, doesn't have any of that training. We don't know who they are. And there is no guarantee if you give your ballot to someone like that, that it will get to elections and that it will get counted. I would also extend a caution to those who've decided to go around and ask people to hand over their ballots. It is a crime if you don't deliver those ballots. It is a crime if you take someone's ballot and you throw it away. So think twice before you sign up for this, and think twice before you handle someone's ballot with anything less than the utmost care. Again, postal workers, county election workers, we have some great county election workers here in the bright orange aprons. We've had a steady stream of citizens coming through while we've been here this morning, dropping off their ballots, and that's going to continue right through election day. So let's have a good, clean election, and let's make sure that every vote is counted. Thank you, and now we will take questions.
Could you just specify a bit more about what kind of complaints you've been getting, and what is just the vans, or what's...
The complaints have been coming to our elections department, so I'll ask Sherril Huff to comment on the complaints we've received.
We first learned of this through our phone bank that we operate for every election, with some voters that had called in with great concern because someone had been going door to door, and then following that, that there were a notice out that there would be vans established for pickup in several different locations, actually 10 locations in King County, to collect ballots as well. We responded to that quickly, and it reinforced our messaging on this issue, and also talked with some of those that we felt might be considering this option, and recommended that that option not be taken. But the calls, as I said in our phone bank, have not been huge in number, but those that have come in were very concerned that this action was taking place.
And the vans, the GOP vans, the Republican Party vans?
As far as I know, the vans that have signage on them, GOP, are the only mobile vans other than our own that are located in other areas of the county to collect ballots.
And some would contact them or contact the GOP, or is it?
Yes.
And what was the response?
I just asked them if they would explain what their process was going to be. Again, told them that we would be advising against this, and they were aware of that. And that there is a risk involved with this, and we encourage them to let us know where they intended to which locations that they intended to deliver ballots to. They indicated that they would be bringing them to drop boxes, to our drop boxes. And again, a concern that I voiced is, how are you transporting them? Because of course, as Executive Constantine said a few moments ago as well, we have very strict procedures for how ballots are collected and brought into our facility.
Excuse me, can I ask please? Okay, some would say that you've left yourself open to this because the drop vans and drop boxes are very widely scattered. Southeast Seattle has none. West Seattle, we have one, but White Center, which is having a huge election, doesn't have any. Are you going to change that for future elections?
Actually, our drop boxes are placed, the criteria that we use is the urban centers designations. What we have learned through use of drop boxes for several years now is that high density are those areas where the numbers are the highest, where the usage is the highest. We have found in the more the outlying areas that those folks are mailing their ballots back to us and have been before vote by mail was ever an issue. So we have studied this issue thoroughly for several years, and it's a huge investment. And so we want to make sure that we are using our taxpayer money in the best way feasible, and that is being very strategic about where the boxes are located. This election, both the primary and the general election, the van, this is the first use of our mobile van as a drop location, and it has worked very well. We were hoping that that would be the case, because in the future that will also give us an opportunity to fill in gaps in some of those areas.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you feel that you do need to make a change based on the question that was just asked?
I do not.
Okay. Have you had this happen before? I mean, it seems like it's something that, is this the first time that you've ever had helping people mail their ballots?
It is not the first time, and as I said in my opening comments, we have in the past. We will always recommend against it.
Is there any particular impropriety in having someone pick up ballots this way? Or is it just something that you don't want to see happen, but is there any potential legal issue?
There is not it is not prohibited by law. As Executive Constantine referenced, there is a statute regarding collecting ballots and not delivering them to an elections facility or disposing of them.
But what's wrong with it if it helps the person post their ballots?
What's wrong with it is you're approaching someone you don't know and asking them to hand over their ballot. You don't have the same security procedures that we at King County Elections have or that the United States Postal Service has. So that ballot, which is the only one you'll get, is now in a van. It could be unlocked. You don't know where it's sitting. You don't know the person who's supposed to deliver it. There's a chain of custody problem now with your ballot. We are simply advising citizens that if they want to make sure their vote is counted, don't hand over your ballot to somebody you don't know. It's a dangerous thing to do, and although there are certainly good reasons to have someone else deliver your ballot to a drop box, mom, your son, a friend, don't give it to somebody you don't know. Don't give it to somebody who just shows up in your neighborhood, comes by and says, "Trust me, give me your ballot." That is not a smart thing to do. And for that person, again, if they take that ballot and they don't deliver it, that's a crime. That is a crime. They need to be very, very careful.
What is the crime?
The crime, I believe it's a misdemeanor for failing to deliver the ballot.
But not
and it is a very precarious position to put yourself in, to take on that trust without the proper training, with the proper security procedures, with the proper security equipment that we have to take care of those ballots.
How would you find them, though?
That is a good question. How would you find them? We don't have any record of who these people are out there collecting ballots.
So you don't know who they are?
So don't give your ballot to somebody you don't know. Give it to an elections official or drop it in the U.S. Postal Service.
So are you saying you're concerned that the ballots are not tampered with?
I'm saying we're concerned we have no way of knowing what's happening to these ballots. We have no way of knowing where they go once an unidentified person picks it up at the door or in the van.
Do you have any idea how many ballots are?
We have no idea. Yeah.
Is this something maybe in the future that policies might need to be changed as far as ballot collecting and what's acceptable?
I think that there's this is probably going to lead to some conversation in the legislature about who is an appropriate party to be taking a ballot from someone. It is perfectly appropriate if you're part of a community group, a church, a group where you know and trust someone, to have them deliver your ballot for you. I think that it is questionable to have a complete stranger going door to door asking for people to turn over their ballots.
Do you know anything more about the people who were going door to door? Was it just one set of folks, as far as you know, or was it also a Republican effort? Or?
The only contact that I have had in response, again, to the information that came to us through the phone bank was with GOP.
And one group of people? Or?
As far as I know. And their vans are identified as GOP. I wanted to say one other thing very quickly for anyone who has a concern or a doubt about if they have given someone their ballot. On our website, we have a ballot tracking system, so I would advise voters in general to track and see what the status of your ballot is. But there's a 4-point tracking system that you can check as well.
What recourse would they have if they happen to be looking and didn't see it?
Well, I want to be clear just on that last point. If today, Sunday, or tomorrow, Monday, you handed your ballot to a stranger, the processing time is such that by the end of the day, on Election Day, you wouldn't be able to find out through the tracking system whether or not that stranger had delivered your ballot. Once the polls are closed, at that point you have no recourse. You're not going to be able to vote if they lost your ballot, threw it away, whatever, failed to deliver it. Now, what recourse do folks have? If they've not seen their ballot in the tracking, what do they do?
If they have not seen their ballot in the tracking, ordinarily folks give us a call, and we welcome that. It may be that because of volumes of ballots, we simply haven't processed theirs in a time frame. We usually tell people it will be about a day and a half. So we ask them to wait a bit. If they're tracking later and they don't see it, then they need to contact us very quickly. Again, if it's prior to Election Day, they can come into our office and vote in person on our technology. And at this point, that's the last resort option for voting.
You say that you've had the problem before. Is there any way to say how many people have, how many ballots, have any of the ballots that have been delivered by strangers, as far as you know, never been counted, or do you know?
We don't know.
You don't know.
So we're going to wrap it up, but they'll be available for a few minutes to do one-on-one camera interviews if you want. I'm just going to get our movers and just start breaking down the stuff here.
So thank you all for being here today. It's been really gratifying to see so many people coming through and voting here at our mobile drop box, and we look forward to answering individual questions. Thank you.